Hey everyone, welcome to the Bio Breakthroughs podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. We have a very special guest here today. We have the CEO of Truvian, Jay Srinivasan. How are you today?
Hey, Jared, it's wonderful to finally connect and meet with you. It's great to be on the podcast, and I'm really looking forward to sharing more about healthcare and Truvian in particular.
Let's dive in. Tell the audience a little bit about you and then give us that quick overview of Truvian, and then we'll dive in.
Absolutely. I grew up in a military household in India. My father was a career officer in the Indian Air Force, and my childhood was like everyone else's. Growing up in the 70s and 80s in India, it was all just about trying to have fun, go to school, and do the best you can. I had the opportunity to live across many cities, and what it really taught me was the fact that many things matter, right? Language matters, culture matters, people matter. And I think that's what has embodied pretty much my journey from being this young boy in India to really coming to the United States and really getting a chance to kind of imbibe in the culture here, but also to really grow professionally and learn from others.
And
And the reason I am in diagnostics, in healthcare in particular, is because I strongly believe that healthcare is kind of a fundamental human right. It's not afforded to many in the world today. And, my ability to just move the needle and make that happen is what brings me to work every day.
and talk me through, Jay, how treating chronic conditions are a major driver of global healthcare costs. And I know one of the things that you're really excited about is the potential to reduce that cost and improve outcomes with earlier detection.
Absolutely. So, there's, diagnostic testing is kind of understated in the United States and globally. There's only 2% of the spend in healthcare that typically goes into diagnostic testing, yet 70% of all clinical outcomes come from actual some sort of diagnostic. Chronic disease is on the rise, as you know, across the world. I mean, non-communicable diseases, is now single-handedly the most common element across most healthcare economies. And by non-communicable disease, I mean, getting cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and so on. And not, it's not specifically that, and cancers as well. And what we have found is that, the ability to really not intervene early, detect it early, is why most of the spend in most healthcare economies and countries across the globe is in secondary and tertiary care. Secondary and tertiary care means when you already know you've got a problem and now you're really trying to address it. It's almost like it's better to have preventative care for your car than actually go through the process of having it fixed in a machine shop. We believe the same in many ways, even though the analogy is morbid, happens for patients as well. So if you and I were to get more primary care testing and primary care, we believe that over time, secondary and tertiary care settings become less pervasive in how spend occurs, and that's really what Truvian is in the journey to really solve for, which is to really make routine blood testing accessible, affordable, and meaningful to patients everywhere, so that we become much better educated and rational users of healthcare.
And Jay, talk me through how blood testing results are used to guide decisions, but it seems like where the system ends up breaking down is patients decide to skip the testing due to convenience factors. Talk me through that.
Yeah, so blood testing is interesting, right? It's the most common form of it's a common sample type that's used for testing around the world. Yet it's testing workflows today for blood are very friction laden. So you have to schedule an appointment, you have to get to a draw site, you have to have your blood drawn, which could be multiple tubes of blood. These end up getting shipped. I always say it gets planes, trains, and automobiles to get it across to a location where it's processed over a period of time and returned back. Those results come back into the electronic medical record or to your GP or your PCP, and then they get evaluated. You may never be part of the process from the point you give your blood drawn to when the results come back, because you're if you are going through that process because you're already you've already moved on with life and those results haven't arrived in a timely way for intervention to happen. But the bigger risk that exists in blood testing workflows today is that most people skip it because of the convenience factor. It is not easy to take time away from work for most of us. It's hard to go to one of these draw sites and wait for that blood to be drawn. So 40% of the population skips blood testing primarily and doesn't adhere to prescribed blood orders. What that results in is that over time, there's a lot higher population, 50%, in the United States approximately and across the world that are just walking around with some sort of chronic disease that they weren't aware of. What a timely blood result can do is have the patient and the provider sit together and really discuss the health condition, and really better education of a patient and a more empowered patient will really help in the story of really reducing the cost of care. And that's a strong thesis that we believe in.
And let's going on that thesis, right? You created a machine to complete the work of 3 extremely large machines in one small benchtop device.
Yeah.
I know you've in your intro and throughout you've talked a little bit. Tell me more about this device.
Yeah, so the way you want to think about our device is we've taken 3 different testing technologies. So we've taken chemistry, clinical chemistry, which is a very common way to really detect disease states. We've taken hematology, which is really about cells. So it is about knowing the different kinds of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and so on. And we've taken immunoassays. So, that can be like a thyroid test, for example, or a prostate test. And we've taken those different technologies that detect these different types of conditions, and we've actually kind of glued them together. And by miniaturizing those technologies into the form factor of an instrument that's no bigger than a desktop computer or a printer in terms of size. And what we've done there is we've not only miniaturized these technologies, we've taken proven technologies and in order to make sure that we're de-risking the technology risk that exists when you bring a new product to market. Additionally, we have what's called a consumable pack, and it comes with this disc and this support pack. And the disc really comes preloaded with reagents on it. So in our manufacturing site, we preload these things with reagents. Very minuscule amounts of reagents are required on our system. And this disc also has some features that allow us to separate plasma from blood. So the plasma itself is used to hydrate and bring these reactions into play. This support pack has what's called a smart slide, or a monolayer as we call it, some tips for processing, and some reagents that are kind of already available, room stable reagents and processing wells. All you have to do in terms of a workflow is you got to put this disc in, you got to put this support pack in, and I'm just going to do this since I'm on video. You just open this. You got to open this tube, blood tube, put it into the support pack. Follow a very simple guided workflow. Once the system takes both the disc and the support pack in, the system completely takes control of all processing. And after a few minutes, this consumable pack is ejected. At which point it can be thrown into biohazardous waste. The interesting thing is it goes in with reagents, comes out as waste. So there's no requirements in our system for any sort of plumbing for waste, any sort of other specialized electrical conditions. So I could bring our instrument, put it on any counter around the world, plug it to an electrical outlet, and be able to use it. And that's the value that we bring, because now we can actually place it anywhere you go. So we will start off obviously in retail clinics, corporate clinics, and physician office labs, for example. But we would also exist in retail pharmacies. But the possibilities are endless if you think about it, because we could exist wherever you go. We could exist in arenas, in gyms, in schools. Kids don't have to leave school if necessary to get their blood drawn, and so on. And the simplicity of the system allows us to use someone with just an 8th grade education or above, someone who really can follow a set of instructions of a quick start guide without requiring specialized medtech operators. The simplicity of the instrument and where we place it will then allow us to really be able to do the most valuable piece of the system, which is be able to provide these results in a timely manner, so that when we're visiting with a physician, our physician, be it a GP or a PCP, we can actually sit down with them with the results available almost immediately after the draw and be able to walk through our results. And what that does is it helps us intervene if there is a condition. For example, if I have high cholesterol and I know it when I have it, and I'm told how to go solve for it, I would be able to solve for it. And that's really, really what this product's intended to do.
Jay, I wish everyone did a magic trick and brought out an example that they can share like you just did and talk us through that. That was so interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to segment from that, which I wish everyone did the show and tell. That's really cool. How does Truvian maintain increased transparency in order to regain trust in a field that, not on your end, but not to no fault of your own, this space has had a questionable past. So how do you maintain increased transparency?
Yeah. So I've been in diagnostics pretty much my entire career, Jared, and I've always, I've always believed that it starts with who you are, and it starts how you conduct it. So right from leadership onwards, I think the company embodies, the principles of how we will operate, as a diagnostic company. We believe to get there really though, it's always going to need to be rooted in data. So over the last 8+ months, we've collected data across 8 trials, clinical studies we've run, that we shared as culminating that effort in a very critical conference for this industry, and that is the Association of Diagnostics and Lab Medicine, which was held in Anaheim, in California in July. And at the conference, we showcased our product. We showcased we showcased our data through a poster session where we showed that this instrument and the data that was generated off it is comparable to central lab instruments, meaning instruments that exist, say, at a Quest or LabCorp or some other central lab. And we were able to show that our results when a patient had their blood drawn and run on our system, versus that when that blood was sent out, when their blood tubes are also sent out to a Quest or a LabCorp or any other central lab, those results would be concordant. And this was done independently, because we do believe that, while we will collect data and prove that the system performs the same way in our hands as it does in the hands of a third party, this data was collected independently. And so that data validated the fact that, our performance could be consistent between two sites, but also that in the hands of a third person, we could get the same results that we'd expect. Truvian's built around transparency. If you come visit us and visit our offices, everything's open. You could look through into our labs. You can see the instruments running. Right behind me, in fact, sits a phlebotomy room, and we do offer, just as a process to really, do usability studies on our product. We do have under an IRB are able to really kind of test patients who want to sign up to be part of that study and really get their blood drawn and their results generated on our instrument. Some patients or folks who really sign up for the study do want to also participate and really run our instrument. We're more than happy to let them do that under an NDA.
Super interesting. And I know you can't obviously share everything, but what can you share in terms of what's next that really excites you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we spent an inordinate amount of time ensuring that our system can produce good results. And the way we really compare our system's performance is we run blood tubes on our system daily. We run the same blood tubes drawn from the patient. We run additional tubes on previously gold standards that exist in a Quest or a LabCorp, and we compare our results. So we do that on a daily basis. And what it's helping us do is to constantly improve the product. We believe the product needs to be primed to be in the marketplace, and we're going to do everything possible to get it there. Additionally, we're also focused on ensuring we can complete the remainder of the steps that are required to be able to, which will culminate in a clinical trial. And a submission into the FDA and other regulatory bodies. So we're on that journey. We're in late stage in that journey, and really excited to really see a product like this brought into the market to really hopefully impact the lives of many patients globally.
This is the first time you've been on. I'm excited to have you on again. So we'll have to talk again soon. Really appreciate your time here today, and wishing you and Truvian the best of luck.